Do you want to get wealthy? Come on. Of course you do. We're going to give you 6 truths about getting wealthy today that nobody is telling you about. We're going to play the game of ping pong where we go back and forth. And of course, it's always ladies first. How you doing, Anna?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fun. Just did the Bigger Pockets presentation. It was a blast. So I had fun doing that. And we actually talked about getting wealthy. So this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. What is the one truth about getting wealthy today to start?
I would say that getting wealthy for most people is a slow and steady race. It is not going to happen for most people through getting rich quick, through things like buying a lottery ticket or, being a one-hit wonder, singer or whatnot. It is slow, it is methodical, and it needs to be a lifetime journey, a marathon and not a sprint.
I'm glad you brought that up. Right in my presentation, I actually went one step further. So we'll count this as number 2. I actually remind people all of that. In fact, I call it a season. I often refer to it as a decade. But I want to remind people the first 5 years of this journey suck. That is where there's no momentum. There's really no compounding. Any streams of cash flow are coming off or frankly being burned because of mistakes or other things. It's where the lessons learned hurt the most, right? There's not this ever-growing stream of cash flow that can hide a broken water heater or, a miss or whatnot, right? And I actually think getting wealthy, it's hard on purpose, right? Because it tries to kick people out of the system. I've met plenty of people that get on the journey that give up after 2 or 3 or 4 years, or heaven forbid on 8 years, which almost happened to us. Because you're right there. It is so close. Getting wealthy is not linear. Everybody thinks it's linear, right? The time in equals the time out. No, it's this compounding hockey stick or whatever, that exponential. It's an exponential curve. And if you want an example of this, folks, put in your calendar and double a penny every day for only 30 days. And look at how fast it grows the last 2 days, right? The first 15 days are nothing. Yeah. But the last 2 days are crazy. That's how getting wealthy works. So you've got to be committed for a season. It could be 8, it could be 10, it could be 12 years, depending on, all times are different, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it. So that's my first one. The first 5 years suck. Know it, own it, get through it.
Absolutely. My next one would be that you need to learn to master debt. Debt or leverage can absolutely exponentially speed up the amount of wealth that you create and make it so much higher because you're leveraging other people's money and then spreading your money across multiple things. So for example, when interest rates are low and the economy's doing well, if I want to go borrow 75% of, the value of a property, then I might be able to buy 4 different properties with the money that I have because I'm putting 25% down on each one. And that is going to long-term create much more growth, appreciation, which is wealth, and much more income than if I had just bought one property all cash. So debt is a very important tool if you use it wisely. On the flip side, debt can absolutely destroy you if you don't have good, low rate, long-term debt, because when economies shift, like we're seeing now, people that have high debt and they have to refinance or roll over that debt at a time when interest rates are high or values are low, they could lose everything and go into foreclosure. So getting wealthy requires you to become a master at using debt and leverage and using it to grow your wealth and de-risk your chance of losing that wealth over time.
Yeah, my second one is hopefully something that sends a bolt of electricity for you. If you're an adult, 18 or older, certainly if you're over 25, you probably have a passion or a hobby or an area of interest that you have had for a long time, right? It could be, I'll just make stuff up. It could be Pokemon, it could be Harry Potter, it could be whatever it is. And a lot of people don't realize this, but I believe, and especially today, I believe getting wealthy has never been easier. Building side hustles or whatever you want to call it, it's never been easier than today. I want people to realize this. There is somebody out there, and likely several somebodies, that are printing money because of their passion in whatever your thing is. You like Harry Potter? I guarantee you there are creators out there making millions of dollars on Harry Potter. If you like wine, there's people doing that. If you like classic cars, whatever it is, So I want you to realize that if you've had a passion for a decade or 2 decades, or heaven forbid, you're my age, over 50, and you've had something for 30 years, there is a way to monetize your passion. And I don't think enough people really look at whatever, Harley Davidson bikes. I mean, there are people making money in your area of passion. So that should be like either A, if you're like me, that's a slap across the face, or B, it's a kick in the pants that says you can do it too, right? Depending on what kind of person he is. You want a pat on the back or a kick in the ass? Again, I don't think enough people realize it has never been easier to monetize your passion. So go figure it out, right? The point of getting wealthy is lower expenses or increase revenue. Go increase revenue with your passion. You have it. Go get it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great. I mean, really, to create wealth, you have to first create good income, income that gives you discretionary income, extra left over after your expenses. So you can cut your expenses or you can make more income. Both of that gives you more discretionary income, or i.e. investable income. The second piece of that is you have to get really good at taking that income and making wise investments that'll go up in value, create even more income. So now your income's working for you, or eventually preserve your capital, because really all investing comes down to growing income, growing equity or wealth or value, and then preserving what you have. And so understanding that is extremely important. But the other piece that I would say as my next one would you must become a student of the economy if you want to get wealthy and you want to stay wealthy. So many people that I know, Michael, are really good at their one thing. And then something in the economy shifts and that one thing is lost favor. And it's no longer going to, create that same income or create that same equity appreciation or preserve your wealth. And so I learned this lesson the hard way during the GFC, working at AIG, and we were completely blindsided by the great financial crisis, by AIG almost going under. I lost about 2/3 of my 401k, never to come back, as these companies failed. And I learned that, big company wasn't gonna save me. My income could go down if I got laid off. And my 401k, that equity growth, wasn't going to save me because it was gone. So I learned to become a student of the economy. You must understand what's going on in the economy at a high level and in areas that are going to impact your ability to continue to create that income or to continue to have appreciation in what you have. And so when I say you need to become a student of the economy, watch kind of what is the government spending money on? What are they giving you tax incentives to own and to invest in? Part of wealth is preserving what you have, and you do that by not having to pay as much taxes. And so learning the economy, learning what governments are prioritizing could tell you the trajectory of what things might start to make you a lot of money because the government's going to pour a bunch of money into those industries and then give you tax incentives to invest in those industries. So if you can even watch that kind of macro big picture, you can understand, when is it important for me to shift my investing goals? And maybe if I'm an investor or flipper, for example, in Austin, Texas, and those values start to tank, maybe I want to shift to an area of the country that's actually growing. And so you've got to really watch what's happening and shifts in the economy that can really derail your plan A for income growth and preservation so that you're not blindsided. And so all that hard work you do to grow income, doing what you're passionate about, isn't wiped away and lost because you were suddenly blindsided because you're getting all your economic news from the headlines and the news media that really isn't telling you where the economy is going, where the next growth is going to come from, and where the risks are to losing your wealth if you're not careful.
Yeah, I love that. My next one is one I really do believe with every fiber of my body, and actually people fight me on it, which is frustrating. And you brought this up in a previous video, but I think it warrants here, and that is the fact that everybody can get wealthy, right? With the rare exceptions, maybe, there's physical and other things going on out there. I get it, but if you're watching this on your iPhone, right? You're watching this on your Android, you can get wealthy, right? If you can afford an iPhone, you can get wealthy. And that should be both freeing and scary, right? Because I think there's a lot of people out there that are just comfortable, right? I think you called it victim mentality in a previous video, that they're like, what I'll say is I think a lot of people are comfortable.
Yeah.
And comfort's is not great if you want to really
Yeah.
change the world, right? Or you want to change your circumstances. But if you're comfortable and you're, let me say this, if you're comfortable and you're happy, congrats, you win. You win. Game over.
Yes.
You won. Congratulations. What I fear is there's a lot of people that are comfortable and deep down they're afraid. And that's
Yeah.
not a great place to be. If you're comfortable and afraid, you got to step up and own stuff, right? You got to own your decisions. You got to own where you are. You got to own your mistakes. Stop blaming the system, the people, the thing, the this, the other, and just
Mhm.
get after it. I think everybody can get wealthy. I interview millionaires like yourself every week on this channel, and everybody has different stories, right? You grew
Mhm.
up poor in Section 8 housing. Another gentleman had nearly $100,000 in debt and 3 kids, right? We've got a 9th grade dropout in our ranks. And it's just, it is possible. Right? There are people that are wealthy today that are not as smart as you. That should
Mhm.
be, again, encouraging and frightening all at the same time. Folks,
Yeah.
it's possible. Get in the
Yeah.
right rooms, get around the right people. And the last thing I'll say about this, because it warrants here, is if I were to look at your 5 closest friends, what would I see?
Mhm.
Right? What would I see? So that's my second
Yeah.
one. Again, folks, we've gone through 4 truths about getting wealthy that no one tells you. We've got 2 more coming. Anna, what is your third and final one?
Just to kind of piggyback off of that, I would say, yes, you've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable and you've got to have a growth mindset. You are not going to grow wealth by staying where you are and being exactly the way that you are. You have to become a lifelong learner and you have to be willing to go through failure and to fail up. So failure is really what helps us to learn and become wiser and to grow into the ability to handle something bigger. There's a proverb that says, he who is faithful with little will be given much, right? So when you become faithful with what you've got, you become a good steward of your time. How are you spending your time? Are you watching video games, or are you going out trying to create and monetize a business for something that you're passionate about, right? When you have money, are you blowing it on a boat and a car and now you got all this debt, or are you wisely investing in it? And so we've got to be willing to grow, to learn, and to fail, and be comfortable with the discomfort of that continual learning and failing and getting wiser and better as we go. So that's just like a little piggyback off of yours. But I would say the other thing is important to understand that bigger is not always better and more is not always better, because the opposite of being stuck and comfortable but a little bit afraid is being afraid that you're not successful enough, and that if I just had a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, I'd be more secure, I'd be more successful, I'd be more happy. And people can become a slave to the pursuit of financial freedom. This is something that I tell my coaching students. You want to find that balance of what is wealth to you. And sometimes people spend so much time and go bigger and create so much more stress, because if you fail on big dollars, you can lose everything. It can set you back decades. If you go slowly and surely, you can fail small and you can find that balance of, what are we trying to do this for, Michael? Bigger sometimes creates less true freedom because of the amount of stress and time that it steals from us. So you've got to have this balance of knowing what wealth is to you and knowing that it doesn't always have to be more. If more starts stealing you from true freedom, which is why we want wealth in the first place, then bigger is not better. More is not better. And so you've got to find that balance of what is enough for you to have a comfortable life where you have freedom, and you have freedom of mind and freedom of time, freedom of minimizing stress as much as you can. And then that's the number that you kind of go, you know what, I've created wealth for me. More is not always better.
Yeah, the last one for me kind of wraps all of this up together, and that is it starts in the head. It starts in your own mind. I've heard many people love this story of getting wealthy, but then the first thing they say on it is like, I'm too old.
Mm.
I don't make enough money. I'm this, I'm that. And like, folks, there are people out there getting wealthy that are the same way you are, or even whatever your scale is, older.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, guys, stop listening to the rah, which again, I give a speech because I want it to be rah, but I'm there to help you take action. Don't come to me and say, Michael, great speech, but I can't do it. I'm 62. Michael,
Right.
I can't do it because this, that, the other. Stop.
Yeah.
You're already losing.
Mm.
The truth about getting wealthy is it all starts here.
Yeah.
Yes, I know you are not wealthy today. And you know what? You won't be wealthy tomorrow either. But if you get on the journey, you realize that it's a decade, it's a season. The first 5 years suck. It'll go. And one of the quotes, I'll see if I can get this right, from Jack Ma. I don't know if I'll get it right, but I'll get the intention correctly. Basically says something like, today sucks. Tomorrow will suck worse. But then the day after tomorrow will be glorious.
Mm.
Most people quit tomorrow afternoon.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Choose your hard, right?
Choose your heart. Exactly, folks. At the end of the day, folks, these are the 6 truths about getting wealthy that no one except Anna and I will tell you. Let us know what your favorite one is. And of course, if you have a truth that we missed, leave it in the comments. Anna, where can people find you?
Great. You can find me here on your show. You can find me at social media at Anna Kelly REI Mom. And for real estate and wealth coaching and consulting, you can find me at AnnaKellyInvesting.com.
Thank you so much. You're amazing.
Thank you.